Welcome back to the SighSquadPod, guys. How's it chilling?
Yo, what's poppin'?
It's
Insert air horns
freezing,
here.
yo.
So this is a sports podcast, right?
This is.
Wait, this is? I'm on the wrong podcast, guys. Here, 1 second.
Oh shoot! Oh damn it! Not again, Ben.
Wait, who's Ben? Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm playing.
Well, sports are coming back, just like how we come back every week.
Yeah.
But hockey is like officially official now.
Yeah, like they already got a set date and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love 4Cs.
Brendan, correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't they already picked the hub cities yet?
I have
Or
not
have out. Is that what I saw?
yet. I could have in the past day or two.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, so they're down to 6 cities to choose from.
Okay.
They've pretty much guaranteed that they're going to be in Vegas. So really, it's just choosing between the other 5. Chicago. Chicago, LA, Edmonton, Toronto, and then Vancouver are the final teams final cities they're looking at.
Awesome. St. Paul didn't make the cut. Gosh darn it.
My personal opinion, I really feel like they should consider, Edmonton is probably a really good place because of kind of the lack of population there, and also Canada's just been way better about their COVID control.
And fun fact, I actually did find this out too. Canada has approved the NHL's plan if they were to choose them as a hub city. So hence why I think there seems to be more Canadian cities and American cities. So I definitely think we'll see it in Canada. I mean, I could see Toronto, but also Edmonton, like you said, Brendan, Edmonton would be a good place because of less people and, they have a brand new arena. So it'd be cool to showcase that.
So, NHL's coming back July 30th, am I right?
Is that, I believe so. I'm not 100% sure though.
I thought that's what I saw. July 30th is when they're going to start it all.
Yep, July 30th.
Perfect.
Yay, sports are coming back.
Brendan, did you see my NHL predictions on my my podcast?
Yes, I did.
What'd you
I mean, obviously, I kind of already have discussed with you many times, my thought process on it. So, I mean, we definitely disagree on some parts, but I mean, all in all, I think your predictions were very fair.
Oh yeah, no, I know we talk about the Avalanche a lot, but I'm kind of all in on the Avalanche.
Hey, that's a good team to be all in on.
I have them losing in the Bruins.
The NHL Instagram ran a poll the other day. Which of the extended teams, the 9 through 12 seeds, should be the most fearful? And I definitely think there's the 3 teams that are probably the most dangerous are all in the West.
Oh, probably.
Because it's probably out of those 8, the extended 8, the Wild, the Coyotes, and the Blackhawks. They all looked like playoff teams at one point in time in the season.
Yeah. And honestly, sorry.
I mean, I was going to say, although their records for the whole season don't show it, but
yeah. Well, and you can't even sleep on a team like Nashville too, who has playoff pedigree. Even though they disappoint in the playoff, they still have that playoff pedigree.
My biggest problem with Nashville is they've just not.
Oh yeah, they've been hella inconsistent this year.
Yeah, they've really just been on a low year. But granted, the time away could really change that for them.
Oh,
I mean, the Predators do like to upset in the first round if they can.
Well, I was going to ask your Blackhawks about that a few years ago.
I don't want to talk about it because that was our last playoff berth.
Oh my God!
Now.
Jeez, it's really been 3 years.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. And the
Blues
got a cup in this time frame. This has been terrible for the dynasty.
Well, at least you got 3 Stanley Cups out of the deal. I'm still waiting on 1.
Yeah. It's just so unfortunate that basically 2 of those was just because of Marian Hossa. And
well, Patrick Kane was pretty good too.
Well, no, it's not that, but Marian Hossa was a big driving force, and
he's good.
clear that.
Talk about this. He'll be one of the most underrated players in that dynasty because everyone will talk about obviously Jonathan Toews or Jonathan Toes. Ha 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 ha.
Yay, Toes!
And
It was
is obviously is the best American player ever.
yeah. So it was really interesting. The NHL also did another poll, best player to wear number 19, and the only one that I could argue that was better than Jonathan Toews out of like the ones that they selected was Steve Yzerman.
Oh, Steve Yzerman was really good, but honestly, I think Jonathan Toews. I think because like Steve Yzerman was just a scoring like threat. He had a
Right.
Like he could shoot the puck like as hard as anybody at his time. But I think Jonathan Toews is a more complete player. I think he's a better passer. I think he's a better playmaker personally. But
Well, I mean, Captain Serious, having him out there, I mean, just
yeah,
you get a whole team going. He's really good at being captain. That's why he got the role starting sophomore season. Yeah, but Blackhawks are going to be scary. I mean, the Coyotes. I mean, they literally dropped. I call them the $1 billion hockey team because of how many high ticket free agents they got. Plus, with the trade for Taylor Hall there at the middle of the season.
Oh yeah, and that's such an underrated thing too, especially for a Phoenix team that's just kind of loading up. I mean, they got a lot of young talent, but I think to make a real deep playoff run, you got to have a mix of that with some veteran leadership.
Well, they signed a bunch of free agents in the offseason that, like, I thought that they were going to be, like, a legit, like, threat for the 1 seed before the season started. Like, if I remember correctly, they have the likes of, like, Matt Duchene, who was, like, the sole carrier of the Blue Jackets last year.
Who's always just the perfect veteran you want on your hockey team.
I think they got Kessel, if I'm remembering things right. Like, they just got crazy players. Like, that's why I'm really scared what, like, a break is gonna do for the Coyotes who were struggling, but like they have all this talent that people may just have forgotten about. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, for a sport that's already so unpredictable, it's going to be even more unpredictable with the whole with the whole stoppage. From one sport with goals to another sport with goals. Yeah, it's official, guys. Soccer is back in every major league. So, in fact, MLS has an actual plan to come, an official plan to come back. I'll briefly talk about that. So, they're having this tournament. It's called the MLS is Back tournament. It's the worst name for a tournament I've ever heard, but it's awesome.
Agreed.
It's such a stupid name for a tournament. Like, you couldn't even call it the Duel at Disney or because they're playing in Orlando or I don't know, literally something other than the MLS is Back tournament. But anyways, so what they're going to do is they're going to play in a bunch of group stages and stuff, which, by the way, there's a lot of awesome group matchups. I hate the group that Minnesota United is in because they probably play in the most complete group. They have to play Colorado, Real Salt Lake, and Sporting KC. So that'll be tough. But there's a lot of fun matchups. Like both the LA teams are in the same group and stuff. So the top 2 teams in each group there's going to be 7 of them? No, 8 of them. Top 2 will advance into the actual playoff, and the winner of that playoff is going to clinch a spot in the Champions League of North America. So that will be really fun. I'm quite excited. And wins in the tournament actually count for points in the regular season, which is kind of weird to me, but whatever. So it'll make a much more interesting dynamic for the league and for the teams that are, going to be coming back in. I think it opens things up a lot for some of these MLS teams that looked like they were struggling early in the year, and they have a chance to really kind of gain some ground and put themselves in a good position to be playoff teams this year. So that'll be heck of fun, I think. Any questions you want to know about it, guys? Because I know you guys are dying of the knowledge of soccer. So
I bet you can't wait to kick back and watch that, though.
Oh, July 11th is when it starts. And just so you know, guys, July 11th, I'm going off the grid. I will be watching soccer nonstop.
Here's a question.
Sure.
If I were to go to a soccer game, run onto the field and kick the ball in a goal, who would get the point?
It depends on what, like, would you be wearing like a jersey of the team, or would you just literally just be going out there and just whatever?
I will be wearing a New York Jets jersey.
Okay. I mean, it depends if they're playing a New York team, but I don't even know. Honestly, Ben, like they would probably just give you the fact that they probably would just have to like, well, you guys both lost because Ben just won, because they would recognize who you would be. They'd be like, oh shoot, that's Ben. It's Ben Olsen.
Damn. All right,
He was
Jeff
drafted
gets
for
in the MLS
the-
tournament.
What's that?
He was drafted first overall.
Right.
Ben Olsen.
In like what, every sport?
Every
Yeah.
sport except for hockey because he can't ice skate.
Nope.
That's true. But if he could ice skate, he would be the first overall pick.
Oh, you know it.
No, he'd be the second.
For sure. But to briefly run it down, so all the major European leagues are back too. I just want to talk about one quick storyline from each one, just because it's all kind of coming towards the end of the season. In England, there's not really much to talk about other than Liverpool as a commanding lead in the standings. Like they're going to end up winning the league. They just haven't officially clinched it yet. So it's just a matter of time before they do. They have to win a couple more games. They tied with Brighton Hove Albion. They tied with them, so they cannot clinch the title this week, but they're going to win the title. So there's not really much interesting to talk about, but Bayern already clinched in Germany, so that's kind of and the teams fighting for the CONCACAF or the UEFA Champions, they are kind of already locked up. I will say, though, the most interesting thing about this whole thing is going to be La Liga, which is the league in Spain. Barcelona and Real Madrid are tied, like dead tie. They are going to be fighting to the end for the title. Real Madrid plays later in the week. They can actually jump ahead of Barcelona by a measly point, if they win. So that if you're going to watch a league to fill the void in for MLS, you got to watch La Liga, because that's going to be the most interesting title race probably in the world right now, because every other league's kind of locked up. I mean, there's a couple things for the Champions League that might be interesting, but like in terms of like who's going to be the champion, La Liga is the thing. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Leo Messi, we all know who he is. If you guys haven't watched Karim Benzema's goal yet, I think you should look at it. It was pretty dope. But yeah, soccer's back, and I'm so freaking hyped about it.
Do you know what other sports coming back, Noah?
What? Please tell me.
No sports. No sports coming back. Just kidding. It's baseball.
Oh, baseball!
All you plus-year-old men out there, baseball is coming back.
And it's like official too. Like they actually just announced that the players' union will agree. They're reporting July. When has it been? July, like later, like next week, isn't it?
July 1st, I believe, is when training camp's going to open.
Yes, you're right. July 1st. Man, that's awesome.
So that's actually right around the corner. That's only a little more than a week away.
Yeah, no, that's going to be awesome. I mean, this whole thing, we talked about it in the past episode. I believe we talked about it in the past episodes. This whole thing has been handled so incredibly poorly, and it's a shame because I like baseball, and the reputation of it's going to continue to kind of get worse with this, but I'm glad they figured something out. I mean, I still think Rob Manfred's a clown, but I'm glad they figured something out. They're having a season. I think a shortened season will probably be the most fun baseball has been in years, because literally every single game is going to matter. Because, like, in regular baseball, you could start off really crappy, like have a bad first couple months, and you're still, like, not even a quarter of the way through the season. Now, like, for the Dodgers with the new team, let's say the Dodgers start, like, 20-25 or 20-30, they're screwed. Like, they probably won't be a playoff team. Well, they might be a playoff deal, but they're going to be fighting for their lives down to the very end.
So with the new proposal, like you said, it's going to be a shortened season, 60 games. They're actually going to attempt to play all 60 games in 66 days. So it's going to be a lot of baseball all at once.
Wow. I didn't hear about that. That's crazy. Wow, that's going to be a lot of games in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, so get watching.
I was going to say, we better start doing our homework. If you had some baseball withdrawals, you're getting them. Fun.
You know, though, the better sport that's coming back is basketball.
This is facts.
And we all know we talked about it in last week's episode about them officially coming back and all that stuff. And a win. But it was announced that the draft will officially be set for October 16th, and then the free agency will actually start on October 19th or 18th.
Nice.
So,
they're gonna have really.
October 16th is my half birthday.
Woo!
well, that's going to
Brandon.
be Anthony Davis's last day on the Lakers, probably.
I would make me so sad.
It's gonna be his first day on the Bulls, the 19th.
Gosh, I hope you guys are wrong. I really do, but there's a good chance it might actually happen.
Hey, Brandon, correct me real quick. Isn't the NHL draft lottery like this week or this next week?
I did not hear about that. I'll be real with you.
I'm gonna be real with y'all, man.
Hey, Ben, you're right. It starts on Friday.
Woo!
That's more sports coming up.
Yeah, it just everything kind of hits you at once.
I honestly, I kind of like. I'm so excited. There's gonna be so much to watch. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with myself. I'm gonna be so upset that I'll be at work. I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna miss this today.
Yeah.
So excited. And
if football felt like they were missing out, they really haven't gotten off schedule all that much to begin with.
No.
So, Dak finally signed his franchise tag with the Cowboys. So, everything in the world of football is going good.
Yeah, I think as of right now, they're still intent on playing the full season. I know we talked a little bit about last week. I wouldn't mind if they played a shortened preseason, but I think if it goes as planned, we should get a full good season of football.
No, and that's so awesome. And again, I've talked about it. Like, it has to be without fans. I mean, it is what it is. Everything's only temporary. But I mean, I just want to see a full football season. I don't want football to get delayed at all.
And at this point, I don't know if it will get delayed. We're just so close to it.
Right. The only thing I think that's going to get delayed is like training camp and OTAs, which I'm pretty sure have already gotten delayed. I could be wrong on that. I could be that on my butt.
Yeah, I think they plan on doing with OTAs. I know they're going to do a lot more virtual OTAs this year than physical actual meetings. I think once training camp come around, I think they had a plan to do some training camp stuff online too. But by then, it should be pretty much everybody will be back together and playing outside.
Oh, let's go!
So speaking of this next season, I have this week's franchise mode for the New Orleans Saints.
Who that?
Who day?
So I want to give a lot of praise to the Saints real quick. Going into this last offseason, they had three major holes in their team, that being linebacker, wide receiver. Obviously, Michael Thomas is phenomenal, but somebody else behind him. And they needed a little more offensive line depth for either in the middle there with their guards and their center. I believe that they released Larry Warford not too long ago. They only had 4 draft picks this year. So they had 1 first round, I think a second round, or they had 1 first round, 2 third rounds, and a 7th round pick. With their first pick, they had got Cesar Ruiz, whatever his name is, which I think fits exactly what they need on their offensive line. With their third pick, they got Zach Bond, which fits their linebacker need. They didn't grab another wide receiver. They grabbed a tight end in the 3rd round, and then a Tommy Stevens, QB from Mississippi, in the 7th round. But they did address that by their wide receiver by adding Emmanuel Sanders, which I think Emmanuel Sanders is going to be phenomenal on the Saints. He's going back to that number 2 role behind Michael Thomas. He had a good year last year with the Niners. And honestly, the Saints didn't have to give him shell out a whole lot of money to get him. He had a 2-year, $16 million deal, which is I think is pretty good money for his value. That's the same amount of money actually Jimmy Graham got, if that's any show on how good of a deal that is. It's also the same amount of money and same amount of years as Melvin Gordon got, which I think Emmanuel Sanders is definitely better than Jimmy Graham. I think better than Melvin Gordon as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Zach Bond was a great selection for their linebacker needs, and the Saints really didn't have any gaping holes in their team. They more just needed depth and a couple filler players.
Not to mention they got Malcolm Jenkins, so their defense is better.
Yes, they got Malcolm Jenkins, so that's another improvement on their defense. So looking into this next season, I went through a simulator where you could go pick week by week, and you get to pick how you go. It goes week by week, and then you pick each matchup and you see how they're going to do. I have the Saints going 13-3. I think they play in the division. I think they're only going to lose one game in the division. I think they'll split with the Bucks. Week 1 they get the Bucks, which I think Week 1 Bucks will probably be pretty easy because I think the Bucks are going to struggle the first couple of weeks just getting especially as such a new team. I think the Saints will beat them Week 1. I do have the Bucks beating them at home Week 9. Otherwise, I have the Saints losing to the Chiefs and to the Eagles late in the year. I do have the other hard game though, which I could see them losing, which would put them at 12-4. Is our Week 10 against the Niners. They played last year in St. Louis, and it was a good game. It was a shootout. I think the Saints have gotten a lot better though with Emmanuel Sanders now from the Niners, now on the Saints, and with Malcolm Jenkins and Zach Bond and other draft picks. So I have them going 13-3, which will win them their division. And should put them either the 1 or 2 seed in the NFC.
Nice.
Did anybody find out why Zach Bond dropped so hard?
Injuries and age.
Also, he was one of the players that got flagged for. It wasn't necessarily the substance abuse, not the failed drug test, but
I do.
I don't know if it came back inconclusive or like a false positive or something like that.
It came back as a false positive, but I know going into it there was issues with his athleticism was a little different for a linebacker, but it was mainly because of age because he's kind of old for a college player. He's 24, 25, I think, and I know he had some injury issues going into the draft, so I think that's what kind of made him drop a little bit. But I can tell you the Saints got a steal of a player. I wanted the Rams to draft him so bad.
I wanted the Packers to draft him there too. I think he'll be good on the Saints. I think it fills a hole, and honestly, I think the Saints are going to be a really good team this year. They're going to be one of the best in the NFC.
The most complete team in the NFL, not even just the NFC.
Yeah. I think this could be a good chance for the Saints to make their Super Bowl run, maybe give Breeze one ring before he rides off into the sunset.
This is their best chance.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say this is their best chance. This is their last chance.
Pretty much. I do think they have a good chance this year, and I think Drew Brees doesn't have a lot left. I think if the Saints could win it this year, I think we could definitely see Drew Brees riding off from the sunset.
Awesome.
I think I could definitely see Drew Brees if they're going all out this year, obviously. I could see him retiring next year, too. I know he did contemplate it this year, so it makes sense. He has a job waiting for him anyway.
He's really got a job waiting. I think this is his last year, regardless of what happened. It's just a matter of if he's going to get his story tale ending.
No matter what, Drew Brees will go from wearing black and gold to getting a jacket of gold.
Oh, yeah, facts. He'll be a first ballot.
Definitely. Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks all time.
Top five, arguably top 3 all time. I don't even think it's arguable, to be honest. He is a top 3 QB of all time. You don't just own that many records and not be a top 3 QB. Honestly, fun thing to kind of think about. Let's say Drew Brees were to even have won, maybe not all the rings that Tom Brady had won, but let's say Brees is a 3-time Super Bowl champion at this point, and he would have won again this year. We regard him as the GOAT, right? You would have to.
Well, he's already the GOAT. Tom Brady's a bum.
Well, Tom Brady's not a bum, but
Tom Brady's a bum.
I saw an interesting tweet actually about Tom Brady the other day. It was somebody. They said bold statement. Tom Brady was the perfect systematic fit for Bill Belichick, and that's why he won all of his rings. And if Bill Belichick would have gotten a different quarterback, say Drew Brees, he would have won even more.
It's one of those things where we'll never know. Could they have won more with Drew Brees? Absolutely. Could they have won more with Peyton Manning? Yeah, they could have. Was Tom Brady a perfect fit? Yeah. Do I think Tom Brady is still going to be good without Belichick? I do. But yeah, it's one of those interesting things, system or not, Brady's got talent that not a lot of that quarterbacks have all time.
So, do you guys want to do our Hall of Fame or Hall of Fame segment next, or do you guys want to go into our rankums?
Well, first we got to spin the wheel, Ben.
Oh yeah. Who's up next week?
I don't remember. It went me and then you. So
I'm pretty sure it's Noah. I'm pretty sure it goes Duncan, me, Noah, Brendan. But
I think so.
All right. Who would you like? No.
The Bears. I want the Bears or the Rams.
Bears or the Rams?
I want the Bears and the Rams. Or the Rams. I can't have both.
Okay. Can you see it?
Come on, baby. Give it to me.
You could
Come on.
potentially end up getting both, just not in this same time.
Y'all can see the wheel?
I can see the wheel.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure Noah's gonna
Please
get
give me the Bears.
Washington.
Please give me the Bears. Please give me the Bears. No,
Red-
I don't want the. Yep. Ooh, that'll be fun. This will be a fun one. This will be a fun one. Ooh, I like this one.
All right, the Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins.
Curious to see what Noah's gonna do here.
I am actually really excited about this. I am not gonna lie.
Perfect. So next
So
week, Noah will be doing Miami Dolphins.
So first he's gonna trade Tua Tagovailoa for Jarrett Stidham.
No, I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, I'm pretty sure that's what you're gonna do because you want
I-
them to win now, right?
Will not be trading Tua Tagovailoa.
For Jarrett Stidham.
I will not.
Why? Patriots would get the worst quarterback out of that deal.
That is cap, but it is what it is.
Jarrett Stidham, next coming of God. Jarrett Jesus Stidham.
God, Brian, I can't wait for you. I can't wait for that to blow up in your face. Not gonna lie, just because it'll be funny. Can't wait.
All right.
Can't wait.
Well, yeah. I'm up for whatever.
Let's end with Hall of Fame like we normally do. Let's go into our rankings.
All right.
So this week, like every week, we are doing our rankums. We're going to rank them into 4 categories: elite, above average, average, and below average. This week we are doing safeties.
Yeah.
So let's get right off the bat here. Our first safety on the board is the Denver Broncos, Justin Simmons.
Elite.
I'll agree to elite.
Yeah,
I think
he's
Justin
really
Simmons is definitely an up and comer. I think he's going to be a good safety for a long time.
Yeah, he's quite good at the sport of football.
So now next up we got his teammate Kareem Jackson.
I didn't even know Kareem Jackson was a safety.
He played corner his last year on the Texans, but when the Denver Broncos added him in 2018, he switched to safety.
Back.
I don't know enough about Kareem Jackson. I'll let you guys go first.
I'm gonna say average. I think. Well,
I'm gonna say above average.
I could see him going above average too. Sadly, he didn't play a full year last year. He did put up some okay numbers. In the 13 games he played, 70 tackles, I believe. You know, it's still loading. I was doing research earlier today. 71 tackles, excuse me. 4 tackles for loss, no sacks, and 2 picks, which isn't bad numbers. I have him. He actually had comparable numbers to Ken Vaccaro and Adrian Amos, so I would say above average actually. Now that I say that out loud.
Yeah, above average. Those are awesome numbers, especially missing a few games.
Yeah, obviously the struggle with him is that he is getting older.
Right.
He got injured this year. I think he's going to be 33 this year. Don't quote me on that. But we'll see. I think for at least this next year, he's going to be above average.
Yeah, for sure. Especially going to a great defensive team in Denver. You can really shine.
All right. Up next, we have the Kansas City safety, Tyrann Mathieu.
Elite.
I think elite too, especially on KC. I think he had a good year last year.
Yeah, he's all here.
Yeah, I think he'll have a couple more good years.
Oh, I agree.
Elite.
Next up, we have Juan. Was it Thornhill?
Juan Thornhill.
You delete the name before I could read it.
I'm gonna put him in above average because Juan Thornhill was going off before he got injured.
I will put him at. He is a really awesome number, like a second safety, but I put him at average. But if we put him at above average, I won't dispute it like angrily, like I have with some rankings.
I'm gonna put him average, just because obviously he didn't get to play his first full year. He did have 58 tackles, 5 pass deflections, and 3 picks. But I think as of right now, average. But I think in the future he has potential to be above average.
Agreed. I agree with that analysis.
I agree as well.
Woo.
All right.
Who's up next?
Derwin James.
Elite. probably a top 5 in terms of the most complete defensive players in football. He's a top 5 defensive player in this game.
Yeah, I think Derwin James obviously is phenomenal. He's nice and young. He's going to be kind of like Justin Simmons, where I think he's going to be a great safety for a lot of years.
Yeah, and it's fun to see that these two are in the same division, so they'll compete twice a year to see who does better against each other's teams.
Well, and they also get to play in the same division as Tyrann Mathieu.
Oh, yeah. I guess.
It's a good safety division.
Yeah. Just the best
And
division.
then the Raiders got, Carl Joseph.
So next up, we have Nasir Adderley. For you people who don't know who he is, he was a second-round pick by the Chargers in 2019. He appeared in 4 games, mostly played on special teams, and he had 2 tackles.
So, I mean...
So I think...
One more time?
He appeared in 4 games. He mostly played special team and had 2 tackles.
Oh, below average.
Yeah, I think for right now, just because, he pretty much only played special teams for the Chargers this year, so as a starting safety below average, he could be good in the future.
Yeah.
And
The Chargers are just so deep in the secondary, they just don't really need him.
And actually, I am reading, he did get hurt and put on injured reserve in October.
Oh, so he will probably... So, yeah, it's just we don't know what we're getting with him.
All right, who is next?
Demarius Randall.
No, there was one more, but got deleted.
Oh, Ripskis.
Oh, Jonathan Abram. Let's see. I think, is he no, he was a rookie last year.
Yeah,
so,
he was a rookie last year.
He played for the Raiders. He was selected in the first round in the 2019 draft. He played 1 game, and then tore his rotator cuff. He had 5 tackles.
So, kind of by law, he's below average, but he has potential to do that here.
Yeah, I think so.
Damn.
Next up, we have the other Raiders starting safety for this year, the former Green Bay Packers corner, Demarius Randall.
I'm going to say average.
So, he's never played a full game or a full season in the NFL. His closest was his 2018 season with the Browns. He had 85 tackles. He had actually a good year, 4 interceptions, 9 passes defended. Last year, 11 games, 60 tackles, no interceptions, no pass defended. No, 6 pass defended. I think average is probably fair.
Yeah, I would say
Obviously, he had injury problems. He had an okay season while he played. I don't know. He's on the Raiders now too. That was with Cleveland, so I don't know how good he's gonna be on the Raiders.
Right.
Yeah, I'd say average would be a good spot for him this year.
I think so too. This one will be fast.
Elite.
All right, easy.
Perfect.
So next up is his counterpart, Terrell Edmonds. Was he a first round pick in 2018?
Above average. Terrell Edmonds is above average. Pro Football Focus loves him.
And that's why I love him as well.
Yeah. He is a beast, though. He's a phenomenal coverage safety. Not phenomenal. That's out there, but he's a really, really good coverage safety.
Yeah, he had 105 combined tackles in 2019.
Ooh, damn.
But no picks, no sacks, and I think very few passes defended. But a lot of tackles.
Because if you think about it for a safety, well, first off, he plays with Minkah Fitzpatrick. So if you want to look where the interceptions are going, just look to your right. And sacks, I don't know. For me, sacks don't really matter as much for a safety. Now, we're going to get to a player later on this list that just redefines that. But I don't think it matters that much. But he still puts up some really good stats, great tackler, great coverage safety. And I always kind of argue the less stats for a safety, the better. Or if a defensive or a let me restart that sentence. Less stats for a defensive back, the better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Because for me, that just shows oh, shoot, either they're throwing their way and they're just not completing it, or they just don't want to throw it their way.
Yeah, that's with cornerbacks kind of the same way in that sense.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So next up, it is Carl Joseph. What team is he on right now? The Browns. Ooh.
I would say
he ended up on the Browns.
Yeah, I'd say average as well.
I'd say average too.
Average.
I'm trying to pull up stats from him real quick. I don't think he's played. So, I don't think he's played a full season yet in the NFL. Let's see. No, he has not. He started 16 games or 17 games for the last 2 years. He's at 1 interception every year of his career. He usually has about 50 tackles, but again, he doesn't play very long. I think average is probably fine.
Yeah. Kyle, this next guy is an interesting choice as well.
It kind of is.
Yeah, so he's another. Will be his first year with the Browns? So it's another new safety on the Browns.
Yep.
Yeah, so last year, Andy Sadejo was on 2 teams, played 15 games with both of them, had 45 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 4 passes defended.
So I'll put him at average, but Anderson Dejo, like with the Vikings, was his prime, his peak.
I think average is fair just because, I mean, he's bounced around a lot.
Right.
He only played 5 games
for the Vikings. He was damn solid.
Yeah. His last year with the Vikings, he only played 5 games. Then he played 6 games this 2019 with the Vikings, and then 9 games with Philly.
Yeah. Like the year they went to the NFC Championship, like he was really solid from that year.
All right, who's next?
Grant Delpit. So he was drafted this year.
Is he a rookie?
Yeah.
He is a rookie out of LSU.
And he plays for
the Cleveland Browns.
Goddamn Cleveland. Below average rookie.
Yeah, I think Delp has a lot of potential, but I don't think he's going to be the best safety in this class. So, I would probably say below average just in terms of our rookie rule. This next one should be easy.
Earl Thomas.
Elite.
Below average when it comes to not getting caught by his wife.
Well, and Derrick Henry
is with a woman and his brother.
I want to make a bold statement and say above average, and this is my reason why.
Because
Earl Thomas
Henry made him his father. Derrick Henry is his father.
I mean, Earl Thomas is great. He had a good year. He has a Pro Bowl year on Baltimore. Played 15 games, 2 picks, 49 tackles. It's not that I don't think Earl Thomas is good by any reason. I think at this stage in his career, he's just not quite at that elite level anymore. I still think he's an above average starting safety, but I don't think he is still elite. Especially not.
Actually, I will agree with you, Ben. There's going to be a few other guys on this list that I would put ahead of Earl Thomas. Yeah. So I actually will also say above average because we can't totally because I still think there's a couple of elite safeties on our list, and right. We can't just beef up the elite, but I do. So I can agree with that statement. I think he's really good. He's probably the best above average guy we're going to have.
Yeah, and it's really hard too, but our elite safeties, I feel like, have set such a high bar. There's other safeties that at one point were elite or could maybe be elite, but they're not on the same level. They're just not on the same level anymore.
Right, and to be honest, I may have just felt like it's just the name value. Earl Thomas is obviously still really good, yeah. I can put him at above average. I can't dispute that.
I personally do think that Earl Thomas belongs in elite, and I think we're going to just end up with a fat elite section here.
And
kind of breaking down 2 different positions, like in a way, because there's obviously like your free safeties and your strong safeties. But like, if you're picking up what I'm putting down,
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
We're kind of doing dual positions here. Granted, we usually do some depth anyways, but
right.
ET3 as elite, as long as we're voting him on his play at safety and not his abilities of not getting a gun to his head from his wife.
These are facts.
I'm going to stick with Ben here where I think he's just not going to be on that same level because we're looking down the list here. We have guys like Jamal Adams and stuff where I would put him higher than Earl Thomas. Don't get me wrong. Earl Thomas is an amazing athlete, right? But just with his age and what I see going forward, I don't think that he's going to continue to put up even better and better and better stats. I think he's going to more so regress instead of get better.
And it's really just because our elite sets such a high bar right off the bat. Tyrann Mathieu, Darwin James, Lincoln Fitzpatrick. That's such a high bar to reach. And Earl Thomas is good. I would want him as my starting safety, but not over anybody in the elite category.
Yeah, I can't be mad at that.
All right, so let's move to the next one then. We have his teammate, Chuck Clark.
Below average.
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah, people who don't know who he is, he was a 6th-round pick 2017. This last year, he only started, but in his first 2 years, he only started 2 games. This last year, he got to start 12. He had a pick, 70 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. He had an okay year, kind of got overshadowed by Earl Thomas, but I mean, I'm okay with either average or below average, wherever you want to put him.
Yeah.
I feel like he almost should deserve average because that's not bad stats for
It's not
12
It's
games.
really not that
I mean,
bad.
70 tackles in 12 games.
He played in all 16. He only started 12 though.
Oh, okay. But like still, if you're only starting the 12,
That's true.
like I mean, you probably picked up a tackle or 2 a game maybe at the beginning of it, but then obviously you pick up like 3 or 4 in the later one. Like I think those are pretty solid stats that we should at least give him the benefit of the doubt and throw him at the average spot. Now, obviously, he's probably going to lose his job to Rashad Jones if you go to the archives and when I did the franchise mode on the Ravens. But nonetheless.
Real quick, we're going to take a pause about this because the MLB announces that the schedule will be regionalized.
Okay.
So you won't see as many, like, you won't see the Yankees versus the Dodgers or anything like that, most likely, just to keep safety. And then opening day is the 23rd of July.
Yes!
So exactly a month from today.
Woo! Baseball!
Yeah, but that's all for that. So back to your regularly scheduled programming.
So who's next?
Von Bell.
Well,
Von Bell.
that was a real home run of an interruption there.
Thank you.
So-
Appreciate it.
I'll go first on Von Bell. I'm going to say above average.
I agree. Von Bell's quite good.
The only hindrance is he's not going to be on the Saints this next year. He's on the Bengals now, which I think,
Now that'll be probably his best showcase to really shine, you know.
right? But, I mean, last year he had 86 tackles, 2 forced fumble. He had a touchdown off one of those fumbles, 5 passes defended, and a pick. So, I mean, that's good numbers for a starting
numbers.
safety. Yeah.
I'd agree with above average. Again, I think he's on that line between elite and above average, but I'd say above average is the good spot for him.
Yeah, I think he's very comparable to a lot of our other above average safeties.
For sure.
Definitely can up, but I think above average is very fitting.
Perfect. Oh, this next guy I never heard of, so might be telling him where he is. I don't know. Might just be I'm out of touch. Jesse Bates III.
So before you judge Jesse Bates, he's played 2 seasons and he's put up more than 100 tackles both years.
Wow. What's
3
he need to
picks.
play for again, Ben?
He plays for the Bengals.
That's why I haven't heard of him. Okay.
2019, 100 tackles, 9 passes defended, 3 picks, 1 forced fumble.
Damn, that's some above average numbers.
His
Yeah, I'm
rookie
going to jump him real quick here.
His rookie year, 111 tackles, 7 defenses, another 3 interceptions. He got a pick 6 in his rookie year, but no forced fumble in his rookie year. So I think above average. I think he's, I guess, secretly a good young safety.
Well, I'd say he's probably one of the most underrated safeties here.
Probably.
Yeah, when you said you've never heard of him, I was kind of surprised because I actually did hear him because he is so great. Throw him in the above average category.
Okay. Next, I have heard of this guy doing cocaine, Patrick Chung.
He didn't do the cocaine. He just had a bunch of it in his apartment, which was searched illegally, so he got around it.
Sorry. It's the Patriot way, I understand.
The Patriot way.
Pat Chung is an average safety.
I think average is fair. I'm looking at some of his numbers. 50 combined tackles last year, 3 passes defended, no interceptions, no forced fumbles.
He also got injured, I thought, for
Yeah,
part
he
of
only played 13 games last year.
Yeah.
Looks like he hasn't started a full season since 2016. Actually, 2016 was the only year he started all 16 games.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Pat Chung is a different player, though, in the playoffs. So, when the Patriots make it pretty far in the playoffs every year but last year,
Yeah,
makes a difference.
for sure.
So, apparently Patrick Chung was on Philadelphia for 1 year. I didn't even know that.
Really?
Just 2013, and he's back on New England.
Yep.
Everybody just needs a break from that way, I guess.
I mean, look at like LeGarrette Blount. LeGarrette Blount played a random year on the Steelers.
That's
That's
true.
very weird. I did not know that.
Okay. Next we have his teammate, Devin McCourty.
Above average.
I would say above average.
Yeah. Again, I think he's very comparable to a lot of the guys who have an above average, stat wise.
I think like the only thing that kind of separates him, I guess he gets closer to Earl Thomas, but Earl Thomas has had a lot higher highs than Devin McCourty. Is Devin McCourty's just older?
Yeah. Okay, this one will be fast.
Jamal Adams.
Elite.
He's a top 10 defensive player in football, and he is the best safety in football. He's one of the most complete defensive players in the game. The guy can play in pass coverage. He is a great tackler, and he gets sacks. Here. Let me pull up a stat for you guys that I found so insane. Give me 1 second here. If you guys want to discuss it for a little bit, but just give me a second here. Okay. I saved it because I was like, dang, this is impressive. Okay. Only NFL players ever with 200 plus tackles, 10 plus sacks, and 25 plus pass breakups within their first 3 seasons. J.J. Watt, Jamal Adams.
Whack.
That's insane. Yeah. I mean, obviously he's elite. I just want to hype up Jamal Adams as much as I can because he is phenomenal.
Where do you guys think he's going to end up?
Dallas.
Actually,
Really seems like Dallas.
I think Baltimore and Tampa are dark horses.
I think San Francisco is also one that a lot of people might be sleeping on.
Yeah, I would hate that if he went there.
Because there's already been some talks of some mock trades going on where Jaquiski Tart gets dealt, as well as potentially a Dante Pettis and a pick.
Yeah.
Because obviously you have to throw in a first-round pick. It's Jamal Adams. But
well, yeah, I have to throw in multiple.
But like, I think honestly, the value that the Jets would get for trading Jamal Adams for like Jaquiski Tart, Dante Pettis, and a first-round pick might be like overlooked at how valuable that could be, because they really do need receiver depth, and plus they would replace their safety spot right away.
Yeah,
it would not nearly be as good, but it'd be somebody that they could still have fill that hole and not have their defense collapse.
Right.
So,
Go ahead, Brendan.
No, I don't know what I was gonna say there.
Okay. So next up we have his Jamal Adams teammate Marcus May.
Marcus May. Well, you talk about a downgrade.
So last year, one pick for no yards. 65 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss.
Average.
I would say average.
Probably average. He just has the issue of playing with Jamal Adams. So compared to Jamal Adams, he doesn't look as good. According
to Pro Football Reference, is the website I'm using for his stats right now. 2018, he had a 104-yard pick six.
Wow,
nice.
Good for Mark. Good for May. For him.
But otherwise, that's his highlight of his career.
Damn.
Our next guy here, Jordan Poyer for the Buffalo Bills.
Above average.
He's pretty dang good. Like, he's a very underrated safety, I think. He's a really key piece to that really good Baltimore team. Or that Buffalo team, excuse me.
I'd agree.
I think above
Buffalo's
average.
secondary is ridiculous.
Buffalo's defense is kind of ridiculous. Like, their defense is solid, but their secondary especially, yes.
So
yeah, you have the likes of Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, and then I'm assuming we have a certain individual next on our list.
yeah.
You do.
So some quick stats about Poyer, just because I like stats. Played all 16 games, 2 interceptions, 3 forced fumble, 107 tackles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's posted 100 plus tackles his last 2 years.
That changed my mind. Those are incredible stats.
Yeah. Our next guy is Micah Hyde.
Above average as well. I think Micah Hyde has always just kind of been an underrated safety to me.
Yeah, I really like Micah Hyde on the Packers. The Packers use him for everything.
Was solid, like damn solid.
I was really disappointed when the Packers released him because on the Packers he played nickel corner, outside linebacker, middle linebacker, strong safety, and free safety in his last year with the Packers. Packers use him for everything.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. He just does that. He can do so many things at the safety position that he is a very, very solid safety. I always thought he's been a solid safety.
Yeah, I thought it was too.
I kind of want to make the argument for elite here.
Okay, let's hear it.
Because like kind of what we just talked about, Micah Hyde can do it all, right? He's clearly a dangerous threat to anybody trying to throw the ball. Also, he helps with the run game. Like, he's like a Swiss Army knife at safety, and I feel like that is enough to give him the slight jump to the elite.
Okay.
Who are we talking about? Micah Hyde?
Micah Hyde.
Yeah. I'm gonna still stick my above average. I did pull up his stats from last year, and I can read them off to you. They really didn't blow me away. 1 second, please hold. So last year in Buffalo, 70 tackles, 1 pick, no sacks. He was good. He just didn't. I guess he didn't really blow me away. He didn't get. 1 second. It's so 72 tackles, no sacks, no interceptions. I don't think that's elite numbers, but I think definitely he's an above average safety.
Oh, for sure. I think he's always been an above average safety. Always a second tier guy.
All right, next up is Eric Rowe.
Average.
So
he's a slot corner that moved to safety.
And actually, on the Miami Dolphins, he is listed as a cornerback and not a safety.
Really?
Yeah.
Who are their 2 safeties then?
1 second.
Yes.
All right. Well, it still says him as.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Into his.
Well, they may have moved him to safety with some additions to that team.
Well, let me try to figure this out.
Because on the depth chart, he's as a safety, but then on the NFL's thing, he's rated as a cornerback.
And on Pro Football Reference and Wikipedia, they both list him as a cornerback.
Huh. Controversy on the list.
I don't know if he is going to be a safety. I'd say he's going to be an above average safety.
I don't know about above average safety.
I definitely don't think Eric Rowe is that good. I'm gonna be real with you, Chief.
So, let me pull up. So, if we exclude last year Miami, which he's listed as a cornerback, in New England he was pretty much he's listed as a cornerback and a safety. It was like pretty much all his years. I don't know.
He plays multiple positions.
So I presume the Dolphins' other safety will probably be Xavier McKinney, who they just drafted, right? Or is that the other one? Oh shit! No, because won't it be Xavier Howard and
Xavier Howard will be their probably CB2. It'll probably be Byron Jones and then Xavier Howard, unless Byron Jones goes back to playing safety.
Okay, so hold on here.
Well, that edit this out.
Yeah, that's fine. So on ESPN's depth chart of the Dolphins, they have strong safety being Eric Rowe, And then free safety being Bobby McCain.
Well, didn't they just draft 2 safeties in this last draft?
Xavier McKinney is on the Giants.
I don't know.
They did draft, so they drafted Brandon Jones in the 3rd round as a safety.
I mean, can we just agree that whoever Miami puts out there, they're going to be terrible?
Yeah, below average.
Yeah, like honestly, let's just put the Miami Dolphins as below average. I was kind of sitting there like I'm sitting there like, oh yeah, I wonder who their state's gonna be, and like you're mentioning names, I'm like, wait a minute, they're all below average. What are we doing? But it's okay. Give Miami time.
Okay, so this next guy is Eric Rowe.
Eric Rowe.
He's been bouncing between cornerback and safety for most of his career. This year we have no clue where he's actually going to be, as it depends on where you look, depending on where he is placed. And for that reason, I think he's below average, just because you have no idea what he's going to do. And if they don't have a plan for him yet, you can't really expect a plan for people.
Yeah, that's
indecisive people get hit with the below average unless their name is Taysom Hill.
Exactly. I lost my mouse. Next, we have his counterpart, Bobby McCain.
Bobby McCain.
I feel like Bobby McCain's not like absolutely terrible by any means.
No, I agree. I mean,
Ben can get stats on Bobby McCain.
Yeah, so Bobby McCain also has played cornerback for most of his career. Last year he did play 9 games as a safety. 25 combined tackles, no tackles for loss, no pass defended, no 2 picks. Average, I guess. I looked. One thing said he's going to be a cornerback again this year. I saw one guy had a prediction of the Dolphins lineup, and he had neither of these guys as their safeties. I don't know, man. The Dolphins defense is a mess.
Well, I mean, their defense made improvements, so I wouldn't say they're a mess, but there's still a lot of questions for a rebuilding team.
So I guess put him average for now, because I'm not sure if he's actually going to play safety or cornerback, because he could just play cornerback this year and not even be applicable to his list.
Right, I don't know.
Well, I guess we can follow the Eric Rowe thing and put him below average.
That makes sense. Bobby McCain. And if he has an excellent year, we can just be like, we didn't know.
Right. Our bad guys.
Yeah. Our next guy here is Ronnie Harrison.
Yes. Does everybody know who he plays for?
I do not.
Jacksonville.
Jaguars.
Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Last year, played 14 games, 2 picks, 70 combined tackles, 2 tackles for a loss. He put up okay numbers. His first year, he played defensive back, safety, and strong safety, according to this website. So again, he played literally everything. I don't know. I don't think the Jackson will be very good this year. So
next year.
I would go average for him. Yeah.
Average. Yeah, he's an average safety, guys.
Yeah, no, he is. It's just he plays for the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah.
This next guy also plays for that team. The Jacksonville Jaguars, and Jared Wilson.
Yeah, he's played a lot longer on the Jags, I think. Well, I guess a little bit longer than.
Not really.
A little bit longer.
Yeah. He was signed as a undrafted free agent, though.
2019, 79 combined tackles, 2 picks.
Yeah, I'd say he is also an average guy.
Yeah.
Average Joe.
Well, hey, got nothing going for him next year. They at least have average safeties.
Yeah, well, average team.
Well, no.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Average-ish.
No. I seriously think they'll be the worst team in the league next year.
Well, I don't think anybody's going to argue that point, but...
Like, I just don't think they're going to be a very good team. I think there's a lot of young talent on that team, but that's just emphasis on young. And they're probably going to trade, not probably, they'll end up trading Leonard Fournette and Yannick Ngakoue.
Yeah.
So it's just, they'll lose all their best players. But I like Gardner, though.
Me too. Minshew Mania, man.
Minshew Mania.
Next we got, from the Indianapolis Colts, Khari Willis.
You deleted him. Who was his name?
Khari Willis. So last year he had 71 tackles.
I can't even find him on. How do you spell his name?
Khari Willis.
Okay, I found him.
Yep. So he was drafted last year.
Yep, 4th round, 2019 draft. 71 total tackles, no sacks, 1 deflection, no picks, no forced fumbles, no fumble recoveries. Well, I mean, he only 1 pass deflection isn't very good. No interceptions, no fumbles, no sacks. 70 tackles is okay.
He wasn't a starter until the middle of the season, though.
I'll say, oh yeah, so he played in 14, started 9 games. I'm gonna say average. I mean, even for playing in 14, that's not. I mean, I would like to see more than 1 pass deflection. Maybe he did have also 2 tackles for loss, but it doesn't blow me away. I think average is probably fine. I think he could be better in the future, but with just 14 games under his belt, I think average is fair as of right now.
Yeah.
Fair.
Average.
This next guy, I think he's a little bit more than average. Malik Hooker.
Yeah.
Yeah, Malik Hooker
Average.
just has had so many issues with the injuries.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's his biggest downfall, actually, is his.
But when he plays, I think he's an above average safety. It's just a matter of him staying on the field.
Yeah.
So, quick number check for him. He played 13 games, so he played a good chunk of the season.
Right.
50 tackles, 3 passes defended, 1 tackle for a loss, 0 QB hits, no sacks, 2 picks. Honestly, those numbers say average. Obviously, he didn't play a full year. 2018, he played 14 games, but only had 44 tackles. I don't know. It's kind of hard to judge this guy because he hasn't put up good stats, but part of that is because he hasn't played a lot. I don't know why the other reason he hasn't put up good stats, but
I don't know. I just think he's more because he has 2 sides, right? He's either really inconsistent and not that great, or he has an amazing game. It's like,
well, and he's like a really good coverage, a coverage safety, which I think maybe could downplay his numbers a little bit. Like they don't really ask him do a lot of any the rushing or any the blitzes thing. And with a team that has that had the likes of Justin Houston, who played well last year. They also had why am I drawing a blank on his name? I know he's good. He's Darius Leonard. I don't know why I blanked on the name. I was just having a blonde moment there.
honestly, I'm going to say bold statement. I'm just going to say average. He hasn't been consistent over his career. He has never put up good numbers. The Colts declined his 5th-year option this year, which I read, which was interesting, which to me believes the Colts don't see him as a viable option for the future. I think if he could maybe stay on a team and play a full 16 games, he could be above average. But as of right now, and what he's shown, average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Unfortunately, I think Ben's right there.
So our next guy is Kenny Vaccaro.
Average.
I'm actually going to say above average, and this is why.
How you view it. For me, Kenny Vaccaro also has been kind of inconsistent. Like when he plays well, he's really good. But I just think there's a little bit of inconsistencies there for me.
And I think he's been consistent too, but the reason why I just chose to pick above average is because I was doing research beforehand, comparing safeties. He did play all 16 games this year, 84 combined tackles, 5 defenses, pair of picks, no forced fumbles. He had really comparable stats. Actually, there was a couple people who had comparable stats, and that was Kareem Jackson, Von Bell, him, Harrison Smith, and Adrian Amos. And they all had about that 85 tackle, 5 tackles for loss, 5 pass defended. I think he played all last year, and if he plays another full year, I think above average is fair.
Yeah. I mean, last year was definitely the best year of his career, so I definitely think he has the potential without question. I'm okay with wherever we put him because those are some good numbers. And with him playing with the Saints, I mean, you got to think those numbers are going to have a great chance to keep doing well, especially with Malcolm Jenkins there because he's going to be probably the top priority to worry about defensively in the secondary, or one of them in the secondary. when you think of when you're like comparing out of the two safeties, you look at Malcolm Jenkins more than you do Kenny Vaccaro. Or
He's still on the Titans.
Or why am I'm
He
sorry.
played
I
on
was
the
still
Saints.
thinking of the Saints.
He played on the Saints for the first 4 years of his career, but now he's on the Titans.
Wasn't at his best. Okay, you know what? Yeah, above average. Because I'm so sorry, everyone. I still thought he played for the Saints.
That's okay.
I would also
But-
put him in a
But you know what though? I'll contradict by saying because is Kevin Byard a safety or a defensive back?
Kevin is a safety.
Oh, well, then there you go. So Kevin Byard, again, you have to worry about him more than you worry about Kenny Vaccaro.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Byard is quite good.
Yes,
And speaking of Kevin Byard.
Yeah, he's next. I'd actually give him the elite just barely.
just barely.
Yeah, just barely.
I'm gonna say not elite, and this is why. He obviously had a Pro Bowl and an All Pro year. That was 2017. That was a couple of years ago. This last year, 84 combined tackles, 9 passes defended. He did have 5 picks, but I think I just don't think he's quite on. 2 years ago, I would have put him there, but I just don't think he's quite on the elite category. But you could sway me either way.
Yeah, I have no issue putting him at above average, especially with the guys we have already at this given point in elite. But honestly, like those are some really solid numbers. Like those are some damn good numbers.
I talked myself out of it. I want elite now.
Sure, why not? Let's make it fun.
I mean, he's played in every single game of his career. He's put up good numbers every year. More than 5.
He's a threat to like every quarterback ever. Elite.
Yeah.
Okay, elite.
Fair. Next
I
we
wouldn't argue that he was the best safety in the league. So
Whoa.
Whoa.
that was before Jamal Adams blew up, though.
Well,
Okay.
So it was like Harrison Smith v. Kevin Byard, and I was like Kevin Byard.
Okay. Next we have Jalen Watkins. He is on the Houston Texans, and he kind of has just bounced around his whole career. Or I guess these past couple of years he has.
Well, I haven't really heard of him. So what's his stats look like?
All right, guys, I'm back. Jalen Watkins. He has played on several different teams. He's played on the Eagles, the Bills, the Eagles again, the Chargers, and now he's on the Texans. He really hasn't ever put up amazing stats, so I'm pulling up last year on the Chargers. He played in 14 games. He only started 3 of those. He's actually never started more than 4 games, but he's played more than 14 the last 3 years. So played in 14, started 3 last year, 29 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, no QB hits, no interceptions, 1 pass defended. So he's I would probably say below average. He's a journeyman for a reason. He's 28 years old and's been on 4 teams. You guys can say what your arguments, but I'd say below average.
I'd agree with you there, below average.
below average.
I would agree there. Below average. Dump zone.
Our next guy here is Justin Reed, who is also a Texan.
I would say average.
Yeah, so Justin Reed was a 3rd-round draft pick in 2018. I'm pulling up his full stats right now. He only played 2 years, obviously. Last year, he started 15, played 15. He must have missed one with an injury. 2 picks, 5 passes defended, 78 tackles. I think average is fair.
Yeah,
Average Joe.
average Joe. Average Justin.
This next guy, I'm curious to see what you guys think of him. Anthony Harris.
Anthony Harris, I think, is above average.
I agree.
I think so,
Like
too. Especially
like you don't just become the NFL's leader in interceptions by accident by any means.
I believe he was co-leader last year, wasn't he?
What's that?
Wasn't he the co-leader with interceptions last year?
The co-leader, but still, like
Wait.
that's an impressive thing.
So
Well, it's
quick stat.
when the other person who was the leader was the best corner in the league.
No, and
Defensive player of the year.
Quick rundown. Only played 14 games, 60 tackles, 11 pass defended, Did have those 6 picks and no forced fumbles.
I still think he's above. Well, first, I think those are really solid numbers. I'm still sticking with above average.
I am too. And I think the next guy's going to be in the same category.
Harrison Smith.
I think Hitman is great. I think he's really, really good. And I am looking at some of the guys we have on our list, and I think the biggest thing for me why I will put Harrison Smith as like above average, for me, it's the same reason we have Earl Thomas in above average.
I agree.
Go
ahead.
Harrison Smith is still very, very good. I think his age is what sets him back to compared to everyone else that's in our elite category. But if we put him at elite, I will defend it wholeheartedly. But I think if we're putting Earl Thomas, it's for me, it's the same reason we're putting Earl Thomas in that same discrepancy.
I think so too, and I was doing research beforehand, and Harrison Smith actually had very comparable stats last year to Kenny Vaccaro, and also the next guy on the list, and Von Bell. They all had about that 85 tackles, 5 passes defended, 5 tackles for loss. He's still playing good. I think above average is a really fair place to put him.
Fair.
Yeah. Like I said, probably the best or the second best above average guy we're going to have.
Okay, next here we have Adrian Amos.
I think Adrian Amos is very good, and I thought he played very well for the Packers last year.
I would agree. He quietly had his best year last year with the Packers. Again, he had 1 less tackle than Harrison Smith. Otherwise, he had very comparable numbers. That 85, 5-5 with a couple picks. He did have the game-winning pick against Mitch Trubisky and a couple tackles for loss. So I think Adrian Amos is above average.
All right. Next we have Darnell Savage.
Yeah. So Darnell Savage was a rookie last year. Played 14 games. He got hurt towards the end there. Pair of picks, 55 combined tackles, tackle for loss, 1 QB hit. Interesting. He had he only allowed a 71 passer rating while thrown to him last year. I wish he would have played the full season, but I think as of right now, he's an average starting safety.
With the potential to get better, though.
I think so too. I think he definitely has potential, but I think as of right now, we obviously didn't get a full freshman season out of him. I think in the future he could be better. I really like compared with Adrian Amos though.
Yeah, I agree.
Alrighty.
I was actually going to make the argument for his athleticism and what he brings to the table for being in an above average spot.
And I mean, I would be more than thrilled if we put him above average because I think he has so much potential. He ran a 4.3 at the combine. He showed so much speed last year. I just wish we would have gotten a full season out of him.
Right.
Did he make it back for the playoffs at all?
Let me double check. I don't think so. Please hold. Yes, he did play in the playoffs. I remember he had our first game against Seattle. He had good 5 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. He struggled a little more in the San Fran game, but he still had 5 tackles, 8 combined tackles, tackle for loss.
And to be fair, did everyone I'm just saying this because it was seen by everyone kind of struggled in that San Francisco game.
Especially our secondary struggled in that San Fran game.
But like I said, San Francisco is insanely good.
Yeah, they made it to the Super Bowl for a reason.
For sure. They were a quarter away from winning the Super Bowl for a reason.
But I mean, so if you add all that together, then you're looking at very close to 70 tackles. So he could make that shift up.
And honestly, I think next year he will be above average. I'm really hopeful for him and Adrian Amos this year. I know Adrian Amos has given him a lot of praise this offseason for getting more acclimated with the whole defense and learning all the plays better and stuff.
I'm okay with either.
Me too.
It'll be funny. Let's just put it above average. Teehee.
I'm kidding. Fine. Unless.
That's fine. Next we have Darren Harmon.
Another former New England safety, funny enough.
Wow.
I I really want to put some respect on Duron's name. Obviously, with Pat Chung and Devin McCourty, Duron didn't really get a starting role. He was kind of, sometimes the Patriots would like to run 3 safety sets just for some different coverages to throw out. I feel like he has the potential to be really good on the Lions, especially since, he's kind of getting the chance to actually start now.
Yeah.
I've always thought that Duron Harmon was a good player. So I'm going to predict that he's going to be an above average safety come the end of the year. But where we're at right now, I would vote to put him in the average category.
I have no issue with that.
I'm going to say average 2. I'm looking at his stats. Obviously, his stats have been affected by playing behind McCourty and Patrick Chung. Last year, he did start 8 games last year for the Patriots. 22 combined tackles, 2 picks, 5 passes defended. Obviously, those are low numbers, but he only started half the games. I think average is fair just because I'm not a big fan of the Detroit Lions defense.
You're not a fan of the Detroit Lions, period.
But with good reason. I don't think the Detroit Lions are historically good team.
It's not like you're ripping for Detroit is like unjustified.
No, but I think average is probably going to be fair, at least for this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if we get a shake with Matt Patricia.
I really think that the secondary for the Lions in general is going to be kind of underrated going into this next year. So I think that might kind of help out some of that defense because it's like, oh, I'm playing the Lions. I can just do whatever the frick I want.
I think Darius Slay was a really. I know they got Jeff Okudah, but I think Darius Slay is still a hit though. Like I know Okudah is going to be great. I'm sure he's going to be fantastic. But right off the bat, I think Darius Slay is still better.
Well, I mean, for starting out, I definitely agree with you. I think Jeff Okudah brings a whole new level of athleticism that like Darius Slay could show in spurts. But I mean, Darius Slay could do it all. But I feel like Jeff Okudah is more athletic, is what I'm trying to say. Plus, I think it's really cool that they did still get Desmond Trufant, which will be a really good mentor for Jeff Okudah. And I mean, Duron Harmon's not young, but he's not old. And the fact that he worked with Matt Patricia before, I feel like it's going to help out. Plus, Justin Coleman.
Something fun quick.
Yeah.
So I'm playing Madden as we do this. Guess who just intercepted the ball for me? Darnell Savage. Elite.
Nice.
Put him in the above average category, Duncan.
Elite safety. Just kidding.
All right, so you're ready to go to the next one? Did we agree on Draymond Harmon, right?
Yeah.
I think we
Tracy Walker.
Tracy Walker, the other safety for the Lions.
Above average easily, in my opinion.
Yeah. He's a little bit underrated. I would throw him in above average.
So,
I mean, I like him.
Yeah. So this last year, he was listed as a defensive back last year. I don't know what percent he played corner, what percent he played safety. He only started 12, played in 13 games, 1 pick, 8 pass defended. He did have 103 tackles though, which combined 82 solo. 6 tackles for loss and no QB hits. I think I'd be okay with putting him above average.
Let's do it. Let's give Detroit
It'll be interesting how they utilize him this year. If he was listed as a defensive back, I don't know what percent of plays he played corner, but obviously the Lions have Trufant and Okudah, so I'm assuming he'll probably play safety most of the year.
Right.
So
did Ben actually agree that a Lions player was above average?
Like one of the only Lions players.
Next to Sean Gibson.
Who's he on nowadays?
No clue. Somewhere in the NFC North.
Bears.
Oh yeah, I forgot he went to the Bears. So Tashawn Gibson's a really weird character because he'll have games where he'll ball out and then he will just not do anything.
So Tashawn, this is his 4th team.
Are we looking up his stats?
I don't know. Ben kind of just Oop, disappeared.
Oh, sorry, I'm back. My computer thing. So this is his fourth team now. He started on the Cleveland Browns, Jacksonville, and Houston. Last year, he put up 51 tackles over 14 games. He was hurt, so he didn't play the full year. 3 picks, 50 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss. He's a journeyman, so he's played on Cleveland, Jacksonville, Houston, and now the Chicago Bears. I think he's probably going to be average, but I don't know.
I agree with average. What do y'all think?
For
Deshaun Gibson,
I would say average. I mean, I don't know. Probably, yeah. I would
Overall.
Oh, this next guy is someone that I like a lot, actually, Eddie Jackson.
Yeah, I would say above average for Eddie Jackson.
I would agree with that statement.
Yeah, he put up
like
okay numbers last year. Last year played 16, 60 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble. He put up okay numbers. This was only his second year he played the full year. He did sign a new extension, I believe, this last offseason. I think above average is fair. He's definitely had his moments where he's really good. We'll have to see, though. Obviously, the Bears' defense has moments when they're really, really insane, and there are kind of moments where they're like, is that still the same defense? But I think above average is fair.
Trey Boston.
Trey Boston's above average. I like Trey Boston a lot.
I like Trey Boston, too.
I mean, this is a guy I did
above
a lot
average.
of for his stats, but this is a guy I did a little bit of research on, just because when I had the Carolina Panthers in my franchise mode, he was a guy that came up. But I think he's a solid safety. I would say above average. Pro Football Focus, too.
Yeah, so this last year was his second stint with the Panthers. Played in all 16. He had 68 tackles. He did have 11 pass defenses, which was his career best and one of the better in the NFL. It's 1 tackle for a loss, 1 QB hit, 68 total tackles. I'd say above average is probably good. We'll see how long he stays with Carolina this time.
Right.
Next is Justin Burris. And Justin Burris plays for the Panthers as well.
Probably below average.
Yeah, so he was drafted in the 4th round by the Jets in 2016. Last year he was on the Cleveland Browns. He only started 9, played in 14 games, had 30 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 forced fumble, no interceptions.
2 interceptions.
2 interceptions. Sorry, I was trying to find it in my table. I think average is probably fine. He's kind of a journeyman. He's not very old, but he's been on this is his 3rd team since 2016. So I don't know.
Average.
Yeah.
I wanted to say below average because he couldn't make it on the Jets or Cleveland.
Yeah.
But I mean, his stats were decent enough that I will give him the boost to average.
Well, this next guy here is a CNN correspondent, as we reported last week on the SighSquadPod, Malcolm Jenkins.
I think Malcolm Jenkins should be above average, and I think it's because he's in that same category as Earl Thomas and Harrison Smith. Where definitely at one point he was elite, but I did research. I was doing research beforehand. He actually did put up similar numbers to Earl Thomas and Harrison Smith, so I think above average is fair. I can pull up his exact numbers off. I don't know them off the top of my head. For last
81 tackles, 2.5 sacks.
Yeah, kind of around that 80 tackle kind of guy. I do like him on the Saints, though. I think he's going to be good on the Saints.
I think that Saints defense is going to be really scary because, you have the likes of Marshawn Lattimore, then you have, now you have Malcolm Jenkins, another safety we're going to talk about, another safety that I feel like could play potentially corner or, I know he plays some nickel corner in Chauncey or Gardner Chauncey. I forgot his name. But he's really talented.
So quick stat up from Malcolm Jenkins. He does have very couple stats to Harrison Smith. 81 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 8 passes defended. I think he's pretty up there with a lot of guys in that above average category where you'd want him on your team, but they're definitely not the best in the league.
Fair. Next is a teammate, Marcus Williams. And I think this guy, he's going to be one of the guys that is more underrated. But I like him a lot, and I think he has a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Marcus Williams is easily above average.
Yeah. So looking at his numbers real quick from last year, played in 15, didn't play the full 16 games. 4 picks, 55 tackles, and 13 passes defended, which is a lot of pass defended.
Yeah.
He really is a free safety, and he actually, while only 55 tackles isn't a lot, that's actually about what Earl Thomas had last year. But again, Earl Thomas had a good amount of picks and pass deflections, as a good free safety would. So I think above average is good.
Yeah.
Fun fact about Marcus Williams, though, if you Google Marcus Williams, the first picture is his headshot, and the second picture is Stephon Diggs jumping over him in the Miracle of Minneapolis play.
Wow. It's amazing. Speaking of Minnesota, we have a guy from Minnesota here next. He's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, Antoine Winfield Jr.
Rookie rule, so below average, but I think he has potential to be really solid for Tampa Bay.
I think probably below average just because, again, this is rookie year, and I'm not a big fan of the Tampa Bay's defense. I think the defense is going to have some holes in it, but I think below average for now. But we'll see in a couple of years.
I think it's funny how the rookie rule went from average to below average.
Yeah, I thought that was funny too.
I do think Antoine Winfield Jr. will be good though eventually. Like I think he might be able to fill some holes in that defense. Well, not some, but a hole in that defense.
Right.
But I mean, if we've already kind of thrown him in the below average category, he's kind of there.
Yeah. Our next guy is also on the Buccaneers, and Jordan Whitehead. He's another young guy.
Yeah, so he was a 2018 draftee. He played 14 games last year for Tampa Bay, 69 tackles, nice. 1 pick, 9 passes defended, which is pretty solid, and no forced fumbles. I probably think, I don't know, as of right now, probably average. He's only played 2 seasons. Started 11 games the first year, 14 the second year. It's kind of hard to really know what you're getting with him because he hasn't played a full season. His numbers are there, though. I mean, 70 over 14 games. I'd probably be close to 80 tackles for a full season. So I think average is probably fair right now.
I'd agree with that. Especially with that Tampa defense, it's not all that great. I think
really
he's just another mad player within it. Brendan and Noah, what do you guys think?
Here, one sec, my app closed.
Average.
Yeah, I would say average.
Our next guy here is Keanu Neal.
Yeah, so Keanu Neal is interesting, and here's why. Keanu Neal played 1 game in 2018 and 3 games in 2019.
Yes.
But if you look back his first 2 years, 2016 and 2017, 106 tackles, 116 tackles. 8 passes defended, 6 passes defended. 5 forced fumbles, 3 forced fumbles. He's a tackling machine when he's on the field, but he's played 4 games over 2 years. So,
right, when he's able to play, he is an elite player. He's an elite safety. But but it's that injury. Is he gonna be able to play? And I think that question is what brings him down.
For sure.
I think balancing things out, he might belong in the average category. If he can play a full season, though, like, easily elite.
Fair.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to put him at above average. It's just the injuries always scare me. It holds him back from his true potential.
Right. And I don't know, especially when he has season-ending injuries, 2 years in a row, it's like, I don't know what we can do here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he definitely could go up in the list next year, but he's got to play more than 3 games.
Right. Give me at least 5.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I said give me.
No, I'm going to require 8.
There. Next is DeMonte Kazi. How do you say it? That's how you say his name, right?
Kazi?
I think so. DeMonte Kazi?
Yeah.
Uh,
He was okay, so.
I feel like he's pretty solid. So,
I
like,
think he's
bottom of the above or top of the average.
So last year he played in all 16, only started 14, 3 picks, 3 pass defended, 74 tackles, 2 tackles for loss.
I feel like what I said was very accurate.
Yes, it was very accurate without knowing his stats and stuff. That's kind of the player you're getting with him.
I
So-
definitely do like DeMonte Kazi, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I like him, and I think he's one of the better defensive players on that Falcons team. I just don't know. I want to put him in above average, but I'm not going to be mad if he falls to the average category just because, you know.
Yeah,
I'll vote for above.
I'm gonna say average. So actually on Pro Football Reference, he's listed as a quarterback again. I don't really know who else does the Falcons have at safety other than Keanu Neal. I guess he's probably a step up because of Keanu Neal. I don't know. I'm gonna say average just because he fills the role there, but I don't think he's necessarily the best. I'm gonna say Ricardo Allen would be their other safety.
And again, I like Ricardo Allen. He just can't stay healthy.
Yeah, I'm gonna say average for Kazi, whatever, DeMonte Kazi.
Yeah, I agree.
That's fine. Next we have multiple-time tag team champions, part of the WWE's greatest tag team, currently on the shelf with an Achilles injury. He has a gaming channel called Up, Up, Down, Down. Xavier Woods.
So Xavier Woods is quite good. I would say above average.
Yeah, Xavier Woods. You may also know a different Xavier Woods. And he's on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I like him as well. He's not quite WWE superstar Xavier Woods, but he'll do.
So, quick stat update: Xavier Woods, he played 14 games 2018, 15 games last year 2019. In its 15 games, 77 combined tackles,
Nice.
0 QB hits, 1 tackle for a loss, 2 picks,
Nice.
5 passes defended,
Nice.
and 2 forced fumbles.
Nice.
So I think if he would have played that game, he probably would have hit that 80 mark for his tackles. And I think if he had that 80 tackles, I think he would be in our above average. So I think that's where he goes.
I agree. Above average easily.
Above average.
Perfect. Xavier, what are you doing? Next we have former Packer. Ha 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 ha, Clinton Dix.
Yeah, so he's kind of another journeyman. I mean, Packers, Redskins, Bears, and now Cowboys. He used to be good. He was a second-team All-Pro with the Packers a while back. You remember that?
That's the last time I remember he was special. Is on the Packers.
So, yeah, because in 2015 he had 100 tackles with the Packers. 2019, though, Chicago Bears, all 16 games, 78 combined tackles, 5 deflections, 2 picks, and he didn't force any fumbles. But, I mean, 78 combined tackles is not bad. 5 pass deflections is not bad. 2 picks is bad. I think he'd be either the best in the average category or somewhere in the lower above average. And you guys could probably put him either way, and I would agree with you.
I'm going to vote above average. I really like Clinton Dix. And I think that a lot of people are going to sleep on Washington's defense.
Yes, and I'm one of those people to say don't do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
That
whose defense?
Washington
The
Redskins.
Cowboys. He's on the Cowboys.
No, I know. No, I know. He was just saying the Redskins, and I was just like, yes, don't sleep on him.
Wait,
No.
Haha's on the Cowboys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was on
I thought he was
Green
on the
Bay, and then the Redskins, and then the Bears. So it was Green Bay, Redskins, Bears,
Oh.
and now Dallas.
That's a whoops. No, I think Cowboys defense is really good, and he will also do really good, even without Byron Jones.
So here's what's going to make me put him in the above average category for tonight. So this morning, he went viral on Twitter because he was out in his garage and there were two bears in his garage and he saw them and he freaked out and ran away.
I saw that. I thought that was so funny.
Just made me laugh, and so I think that he definitely deserves above average for making me laugh. Plus, I mean, he's a pretty decent football player, you know?
I would say, I don't know. I would say average, but like wherever we put him, I can't. As long as he's not elite, I don't really care.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because he's not elite, but he's not below average by any means. I don't know. The fact that I kind of view him as that middle of the pack guy for me just feels average to me. But like, I can't deny when he's on his game, he's solid.
Next year we have Jalen Mills.
Yeah, so Jalen Mills of the Eagles. He started his career as a corner. He's kind of slowly stepped into that safety role, and now with Malcolm Jenkins gone, he is going to be their starting safety. He's put up pretty good numbers, at least as a cornerback. I know he had good numbers. I'm pulling up his stats of last year as of right now, because last year I know he did play a good amount of safety. So he actually he played 8 games in 2018 and 9 games in 2019. Obviously, the injury bug has killed the Eagles as of late. 2019, 9 games, 41 tackles, no forced fumbles, 1 pick, and 7 pass deflections. I think obviously 7 pass deflections over 9 games is really solid. The pick's okay. In 40, double that. Not quite double it for a year. You're looking at probably about 70 tackles. Again, he just started that transition, though, from cornerback to safety last year. And he hasn't played a full season since 2016. So
average vote from me, but I could see going either way.
I have to average 2 just because we haven't seen him play a full year at safety yet. And, I mean, he was okay at cornerback. He wasn't phenomenal. Average, but definitely a potential to be above if he steps into Malcolm Jenkins' role at strong safety this year and does good.
Yeah, I will go with the average there too. It seems like he has a lot of potential.
Yeah, agreed. I would say average.
Rodney McLeod.
McLeod. Or is it McLeod?
Loud. Philadelphia Eagles. It's getting late here. I'm tired. So, yeah, he's an Eagle.
I mean, I would say average. I know my roommate likes him a lot.
Yeah, the Eagles, especially in their secondary, specifically their safety.
I should say.
Their safeties have kind of been all over the place. He did play a full season last year. Over 16 games, he had 76 combined tackles. No tackles for loss. 2 picks. 6 passes defended. I think average is probably fair for him as of right now. Again, let's say if him and Mills go off this next year and they play a full season together, I think he could be above average. But as of right now, I think I feel like he's closer to the guys we have in the average.
Yeah, I would say average.
The next guy here is Jabril Peppers, and I'd say he's above average.
Easily above average. He hits hard.
Very hard.
So he's on the Giants now.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that necessarily hindered him or not.
He was on the Giants last year, wasn't he?
Giants pass. Yes, he was. Last year with the Giants, 11 games. Excuse me, that's the wrong. I was looking at the wrong stats. Please hold. 11 games, 76 tackles, 2 QB hits, 1 interception, 5 passes defended. I think over 11 games, it's a pretty good stretch. I'm not a big believer in the Giants' defense, but he probably will be the best one in the Giants' defense. I guess we'll see how Xavier McKinney does this year. I think we're putting above average. I think it's probably fair.
Yeah.
And you're speaking of Xavier McKinney. He is next.
I think he should be in the average category. I see a lot of.
I agree. I feel like if we're gonna have one rookie who's gonna break our, because we've had one in every position. Xavier McKinney should have been a first rounder. Very easily could have been a first rounder.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'll give him the above average. I think he's gonna be great.
Average right now, I think is fine for him.
I'm okay either way. I think he has a lot of upside.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that being on the Giants is going to hinder him this next year, especially. But I think as he grows with the team and as that team gets better or he moves from that team, either or, I think that he is going to be a big threat to watch for.
All right. Next up, we have Landon Collins, which I think is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
So the reason to me why I think is interesting, tackle-wise, machine. 117 tackles last year, 9 tackles for a loss, 3 QB hits. The only thing stopping from putting in elite is he hasn't had an interception since 2017. I mean, last year, 4 passes defended, 0 picks. It doesn't seem, at least with in his last years with Giants and Washington, he hasn't been as good in the passing game. I mean, he's only had 4 passes defended he's always had 4 each of the last 2 years. No interceptions since 2017, like I said. He tackles a bunch of people, but he doesn't get the ball or touch the ball or go after the ball. And that might be because how good he is and it's not thrown to it. That might be because he's on Washington, and I don't think anybody around the Washington had a lot of interceptions last year. But I don't know. I would probably say above average just because of his amazing tackle ability, but he's not elite because he's not on the same level as the other guys just because he's not as of a ball hawk.
See, I feel like when you are elite at something at your respective position, it warrants a good ranking. So I mean, like I would have no issue with putting him at above average. I think he's always been a really solid safety. I mean, in terms of coverage, I mean, I don't know how his coverage is. I don't really know. I don't watch a lot of Giants or Redskins football. Yeah. You guys can probably imagine. Yeah. But I know he's an elite tackling safety.
And part of the tackles, I mean, I'm not okay. So the Redskins defense was really bad last year. I think
right, and that could be a thing too.
That's part of the reason why I think he got so many tackles because he was the only one tackling. I'm sure he got so many guys who escaped up.
But what were his tackling stats with the Giants?
Well, he actually had put up. His last year with the Giants, he had 96 tackles, but no interceptions. His first 3 years, though, 112, 125, 104.
Jeez. Yeah, so he's still been an elite tackling safety, but look at the defense he's had to play. He's had a lot of opportunities too. But so to be fair, it's enhanced his game a lot.
Yeah, I think above average is right now.
I think above average is very fair, but I'm going to go back to what I said earlier about HaHa and just pretend like I didn't say it about HaHa. The Redskins defense is something to not sleep on this year.
Oh, agreed. Redskins defense could be scary this year.
Because,
good.
Ryan Kerrigan, I mean, he's still good. They pick up Chase Young, who is easily the best player in this draft.
Yeah. Chase Young, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat. Let me look up what their front seven here. Give me a second here.
The Redskins will be one of the bottom 3 teams in the NFL.
Yeah, but their defense will no. If they hindered all, it's because of their offense. But I think their defense can single-handedly win them games next year.
I think that they are not going to finish last in their division next year.
I agree. I think that's good job. Because the Giants are terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Noah looks that up, though. Our next guy is also a Washington Redskin, Troy Apke. So last year, he started in 2 games, played in 15, had 1 interception, 26 tackles, 2 for a loss, and that was his season.
Below average.
Yeah, below average.
I'd agree.
Below.
All right, are you guys ready for this whole like starting defense?
I am ready.
Okay, so this is what their starting defense is gonna look like. Ryan Kerrigan, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, and Chase Young in the defense line. That's not even including Montez Sweat. Thomas Davis, John Bostic, and Reuben Foster at linebacker. That front seven could be one of the best in football, just right there. Secondary, Kendall Fuller, Lando Collins. I mean, the other two guys are kind of terrible, but like that, those two guys in the secondary is pretty crazy. So, I mean, that defense is not going to be anything to sleep on by any means.
Yeah, no. I think it's good. I don't know if I wouldn't say top 10, but I'd say top
5.
I think they can be a sneak. I think they have the potential to be a top 10 defense. I think they have the potential to be. Like I said, any skills the Redskins have is going to be because of Dwayne Haskins.
Who all new did they add to that defense this year? Kendall Fuller?
Kendall Fuller, they didn't really add anybody new, really. I mean, other than Chase Young and Kendall Fuller. But it's just they just have done such a good job at drafting, defense over the last few years that it's like, I mean, damn. And then obviously they go out and get Chase Young. Like, that's crazy.
So
all-pro talent for his career.
Last year, the Redskins' defense was the 27th defense, and their offense was the 32nd.
Yeah, their offense is going to be not very good because Dwayne Haskins, but that defense is going to improve, and they're going to have an easier schedule, so there's going to be a big chance for it to improve.
All right, fine. They will be a bottom 10 defense, not a bottom.
Young last year, a lot of those guys in the front seven are within their first 2 years in the league, even like 2-3 years in the league.
I think
they will be in the bottom 32 defenses.
Yeah. They'll finish in the top 32.
I think they're going to jump from 27 to 20th. Is my official prediction for the Redskins defense.
I would say the 9 to 13 range.
I say they're probably going to be about 15. I think they're in the middle of the pack.
9 to 13.
Yeah, that's where I think they'll finish.
Okay,
that's
really nice.
Bradley McDougald is our next guy, Seattle Seahawk.
Yeah.
And I'd say average.
Yeah, played 15 games last year, 70 combined tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, 2 picks, only 6 passes defended. That's pretty average. Doesn't blow me away, but I mean, he's not a whole problem.
Yeah, Joe, an average one at that.
Next is Quandre Diggs, also a Seattle Seahawk.
I want to give some respect on Quandre Diggs' name. He was a problem against a lot of like the bigger teams that Seattle had to face. One of them being the 49ers.
Yep.
I don't know what his stats actually look like, but like
I have his stats right in front of me. 2019, he played 10 games, 5 with Detroit, 5 with Seattle. We'll go over Seattle real quick. 5 games Seattle, he had 20 tackles, 1 pick, 0 tackles for loss, and 3 pass defended. With Detroit, he had 0 picks, 0 pass defended, and again 20 tackles. Actually, 21, with Seattle and 20 with Detroit.
He also had 3 interceptions with Seattle.
Yep, I'm pretty sure I said 3.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, 3 interceptions with Seattle. I mean, over 5 games, 20 tackles is that'd be, take it times 3, about 60, 65. Is okay.
Like, that's decently solid.
I think it's probably average.
I mean, but like also if you take those picks into account.
Yeah, but he probably wouldn't have.
He wouldn't have had 9 picks.
No, he would have.
But like he could have potentially had a couple more with that Seattle system. I'm not saying that like where he's at right now he deserves anything more than like an average spot, but I definitely think he should be somebody that we keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think average for right now. Obviously, he's switched and he's played corner and safety on both teams, it appears. So we'll see.
Yeah, our average is looking quite large.
Yeah.
A lot of safeties.
Jordan Fuller.
He is a rookie for the Rams this year, if I'm right.
Yeah. Noah, spit some facts. Why is he below average?
Because he's a rookie. No, Jordan. So it's actually really funny. So we drafted Jordan Fuller, and we also drafted Terrell Burgess. Both Jordan Fuller's either going to play, he can play safety, but he can also kind of play that slot corner. Same thing with Terrell Burgess. I think Terrell Burgess is better than Jordan Fuller, but Terrell Burgess is more of a cornerback. Jordan Fuller, I don't think we'll see a lot of playing time, to be 100% honest with you. Like, I think he is quick, athletic, not a great tackler, a solid coverage guy. I just don't think he'll see the field a whole lot, especially when we have the likes of Taylor Rapp, who I think is going to be really good next year. I think Terrell Burgess is going to be sneaky good. And, of course, we still got, Jalen Ramsey. And, well, honestly, what we could do is we might have to start Terrell Burgess at defensive back, honestly. Unless David Long improves, which I think he can. He showed a lot of promise last year. But, yeah, we'll just have to put in – I just don't think he'll see the field a whole lot, to be honest with you.
Probably not, especially on a 6th-round draft pick. You don't really expect him.
Yeah, and some of those guys are going to be good filler players. I just don't think he'll be outstanding by any means. It can be a solid, I don't know. I just don't see him playing a whole lot.
Fair enough. What about his counterpart, Taylor Rapp, your 2nd-round draft pick?
Taylor Rapp, I understand where we have to put him. I understand that. But I think he has potential to be an above-average safety this next, because I think he was so good last year. Like, he is shifty. He is so quick. He can cover with a lot of guys. And I say that coincidentally, because the game that ended our playoff hopes was a blown coverage by Taylor Rapp. But those are things he'll get better with. But I think he can keep up with a lot of receivers. I think he's a really solid tackler for his size. He is, like I said, he's really good in coverage. He can play either that safety or that slot corner wherever we want to put him. So I understand we got to put him at average for now because he's still only going to be in his 2nd year in the league. But above average will soon be coming.
Oh, I was ready to argue him for borderline elite with what I think he's going to improve this into the next year. And if you look at what he played this year, he played amazingly well for how young he is, and I think he's just going to go up.
Yeah, so 15 games. I have a stats pull. 15 games, 2 picks, 8 passes defended, 100 combined tackles.
Hey, that guy can tackle, bro.
I'd be okay with putting him above average, honestly.
Let's do it. Above average, please. Above average. Taylor Rapp the Beast. Above average. Next year he'll be elite. Above average.
That doesn't matter.
Argue. That's AA numbers, baby.
Those are AA numbers. I just figured since he was still young, we were gonna be like, oh yeah, but no. I mean, he's put up some good numbers. So, I mean, shoot.
Oh yeah, he's good.
Let's go.
Our next guy here is John Johnson.
I also think John Johnson's above average. I think he's been a very quietly good safety for us. I think Taylor Rapp has the potential to be better personally, but I mean, I don't know his stats off the top of my head. That's why we have good old Ben Olsen here, but
yeah. So his stats are a little frayed because he only played 6 games last year due to injury.
Kind of like our whole team had kind of hit the injury bug.
Through 6 games though, 2 picks, 2 passes defended, 50 combined tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 0 hits.
Yeah, so he was going to put up some good numbers, as he tends to do every single year. So I'm going to say above average, personally.
So in 2018, he did play the full season 2018. 16 games, 119 combined tackles, 11 passes defended, 4 picks. I'd say above average. I'm fine with that.
Can I be a homer for a fan for just a second?
Yeah.
I think the Rams defense can also be quietly good. Quietly, emphasis on quietly, because I was so worried about it going into the year, but it's I kind of I'm kind of looking at, because next year that secondary is going to be pretty dang good with Taylor Rapp, John Johnson. I think Terrell Burgess is going to be solid, and obviously we have this guy named Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he's pretty good.
Right.
Terrell Lewis is another rookie. I worry about injuries is what worries me, but he's one of the best. Was one of the best pass rushers in college last year. Again, we have this guy named Aaron Donald. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's very good at the sport of football. And then we signed Leonard Floyd. We talked about Leonard Floyd before, and I think he can be sneakily good. I think that's an underrated signing. We got him for cheap. We got Michael Brockers back, which is incredibly huge. Such an underrated thing. Samson Ebukam, I think, is an underrated pass rusher, I think. It's just our linebacking core is going to be just the pure definition of dog shit. That's like our only weak point on defense. Like obvious weak point.
Fair enough. All right, next up, Tart.
Didn't he kind of have the injury bug a little bit last year?
So I'm going to say average, and this is why I'm saying average. 12 games, so he played 3/4 of the season. Only 48 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 0 picks, and 2 deflections. I mean, even if you round it out to 16 games, you're looking at 60 tackles, maybe 2 tackles for a loss. He didn't have a pick in the first 12. He might have had one, and maybe 3 pass defended. I think his stats would be either average or below average as compared to the guys we have there.
Right. Didn't he kind of also get burnt a lot last year?
Yeah, that was what I was going to bring up.
Struggle with his speed. So I would be okay with putting below average just because if he would have rounded out his whole games, 2 pass defended, 0 picks, 60 tackles, that's not a good statistical season. I'm okay with putting below average. I guess it's up to you guys.
Below average because fuck the Niners.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. This next guy, I will not be putting below average, though. Jimmy Ward.
Yeah, I also will not be putting him below average.
He is quite decent.
Yeah. Last year, played 13 games, no picks, 8 deflections, 65 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss. I mean, if you round it out to 16 games, you're maybe looking at 75 tackles, maybe. Let's see, average 5 per game, it says. So, yeah, 75 tackles, maybe 3 tackles for a loss. He didn't have any interceptions over 13. He could potentially had 1. And then 8 pass deflection over 13 games is pretty solid, though. I don't know. He low-key had similar numbers to the last guy, but average?
Average because fuck the Niners.
He's going to be 29 this year.
Okay. We're getting up. We're getting somewhere. Next is Jalen Thompson. He is on a team that I like, the Arizona Cardinals.
What were his numbers last year?
I am pulling those up right now. He's actually only 21 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a rookie last year.
Last year, played in 15, started 9. 1 pick, 3 deflections, 57 tackles. 15 games, started 9. He was a
rookie.
Yeah.
He was a rookie last year.
Let's say you round out. Let's say you played all 16 games. You're maybe looking at. He says he averaged 3 tackles a game, so 60 tackles. Maybe he didn't get any tackles for loss. Maybe 1. Maybe another pick. Maybe another pass deflection. I don't know. I think average is probably a fair place right now.
Yeah.
1 rookie year doesn't have that much.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Our next guy here, our last guy on the list actually, is my buddy Budda Baker, and I am going to argue that he is elite.
Well, not yet. But I do like Budda Baker, though.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't say elite yet. He was a Pro Bowl last year. Trying to pull up his stats right now. It's currently loading.
147 tackles.
What?
Half a sack. 104 of those tackles were solo. 7 tackles for a loss.
So
6
he's kind
pass deflections. A forced fumble.
Wow, that's insane. Those are really good above average stats.
He kind of reminds me of Landon Collins stats because he didn't have any picks and did have 6 pass deflections, but he put up an insane tackle number. So I think above average is perfect for him.
Yeah, well, because
Hear me out.
Arizona defense was not good last year.
No, that's probably why I got so many tackles.
Right. Which, I mean, kudos to him. He's very good at it,
Yeah.
which is a good thing, or else the Cardinals defense would have been a lot worse than what it was.
I'm hearing you out, Brendan.
Hear me out. We don't have somebody that we're putting up for a poll this week so far. So
Oh, shit.
Budda Baker is elite, so that way he goes to the polls.
He's just not the same. I just don't think he's on the same level as any of the guys in elite. I wouldn't pick him over any of the guys
I
there.
don't think so either, but, I mean, like I said, ask me again in a year, I will probably change my answer. But I just think he's still a year away from being, like, an elite guy.
I think this is the year that he'll go out and become elite. Especially because he got better as the year went on last year.
Right.
And so I just expect him to keep growing, especially because he's been working on things this offseason. I know his hands weren't the best. last year, and that's something that he was really focusing on this offseason. And if he can get even 2 or 3 interceptions added to the stat line, I think he's going to be definitely elite.
Yeah.
So he will be our poll of the week. Great idea, Brendan. And that rounds it out there for our thingamajigger of Rank 'em Safety Edition. What will you guys be doing next week?
We'll be doing corners, won't we?
Yeah,
Corner.
probably.
It'll just be the 3 of you, so unless you can get Ethan on for a week.
I think we should.
We'll see.
We'll find out. So stay tuned next week to find that information out. But finally, we're moving on to our final segment of the night, Hall of Fame or a Hall of Lame. So Noah, you chose this week's guy. Why?
So Travis Frederick, he just recently retired with the Dallas Cowboys. Travis Frederick has been regarded as one of the best centers in the NFL in his short time that he played. Retired this year due to just injuries and stuff, and I will never disrespect a player for doing so. One second, let me just check how many seasons he played.
6.
He played 6 seasons in the NFL, and in that time span, he's a 5-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, made the All-Rookie team, 96 games played, 96 games started. He just retired because his head hurt.
And he had a nerve disease.
And that's, for him, that was it. And I always find this interesting because I always kind of view the philosophy as like, it's not always the amount of time they play, it's what they do in that time. And I always think with offensive linemen, it's very interesting because it's like we don't have like stats, we don't have like in-depth stats to look upon. So I think it's a very interesting discussion for me. So I'll let you guys, I have my answer, but I'll let you guys start.
I'll start. I think that he will definitely be, maybe not at first, but I think he definitely deserves that respect of making the Hall of Fame. Not many players can come out right out the bat and do what he did and do it for 6 years and retire on top like that.
Right.
And so I think part of that, and especially his reasoning for retirement, it's a logical one. He's kind of like the Andrew Luck story. If Andrew Luck wouldn't have gotten injured until the last injury.
Yeah.
If you want to compare it that way. And the disease that it made him retire is a rare one. I think if he would have continued playing, he would have stayed at the level and even done more and guaranteed that Hall of Fame career. But I think that just as he is now, I think he will become a Hall of Famer.
I'm going to say no, and this is why. I love Travis Frederick. He was an amazing guard. I think just because of how short his career was, he only played six seasons, obviously. I think that's really going to hinder him. I think especially when we get into a new area where there's going to be such a long line for the Hall of Fame because there's so much talent. I just think just because he only played 6 seasons, he might just get swept under the rug a little bit. They might not be really know who he is in 15 years. And that's sad to say that his career was ended short because of that. But eventually I could maybe see him, but soon, definitely not.
Brendan.
You go first because I have to look up one more thing.
So I'm really torn on this one. I'm going to be real with you. Because on one hand, he was a part of, one of the greatest O-lines in, football history. Literally, he was on a part of that O-line where the Dallas way was anybody can run behind this. Anybody. And they proved it. But on the other hand, it's just there's not a whole lot of offensive linemen that have made it to the Hall. And his career was so short. I don't know. I think I'm actually going to vote that he won't make it. And I really hope he does, but I just don't see it happening.
Okay. So I'm going to get super annoying and I'm going to get super weird here. I think Travis Frederick will end up being in the Hall of Fame someday. And here is why. We are getting into a new era. Again, this is the emphasis on him. He will not obviously be first ballot. He won't be a Hall of Famer right away. That will benefit Travis Frederick. And this is going to sound so far-fetched, but just hear me out here. So we are getting in an age where advanced numbers and advanced stats are just becoming everything, not just in football, but in all of sports. Pro Football Focus is becoming the most reliable source for like NFL stats, NFL, knowledge and all that. Travis Frederick is PFF's was actually, fun fact, he was the only Dallas Cowboy last year to be in PFF's top 50. He's accomplished that feat three times in his 6 NFL or 6 years in the NFL. He's always been among one of the best offensive linemen, let alone centers in Pro Football Focus's rankings. And I think the later we go with this voting process, that's going to be something I think that may end up being considered. And, obviously I can't pull up stats for a lineman. I mean, I know he had a lot of pancake blocks and whatever, but I think it's going to be so interesting to look of how great that offensive line was for Dallas. And the fact that Travis Frederick may have been the best one in that bunch, arguably. And it's crazy. And I say arguably because they're all so insanely good. I think he did make the 2010s All-Decade team, which could be used against him, but you could argue he easily should have been. That was Mac and Marquise Pouncey. I could argue he should go ahead of Marquise Pouncey, but I won't, because Marquise Pouncey will kill me if he heard me say that. So, I think in terms of in an era where football is changing, I think that'll play a big factor. And I'll just say Hall of Fame because of it. I think it's going to be very interesting. In terms of, obviously, the short NFL career will hurt him significantly. And I think it's different for a lineman as opposed to a quarterback, because quarterbacks, you do have numbers to put up. As an offensive lineman, you can look at, what Zeke did in his time. And, Zeke will probably be the first to tell you it's because of that offensive line. And Travis Frederick is going to be one of the guys we remember. This will probably go down as the Great Wall of Dallas 2.0. They won't win a Super Bowl unlike the last Great Wall of Dallas. But I think when you look back on this great offensive line, which will go down as one of the best offensive linemen assembled, one of the best offensive line teams assembled, you're going to look at Travis Frederick and be like, man, he arguably was the best one in that bunch, which is crazy.
Right. And I'll bring up another thing. How often do people know offensive linemen's names?
And
not all that often, but when you hear Travis Frederick, you know exactly who he is and what team he played for.
Right, and it's crazy because there's so many on that Dallas, because I can think that if you say Zach Martin, Tyrone Smith, Travis Frederick, I know those guys they play for the Cowboys. There are a very select few of linemen where you can just name their name, and I can be like boom, like Dave Bakhtiari, boom, this just in. I'm going to stop what I'm saying here. Free agent J.R. Smith emerges as the leading candidate to replace Avery Bradley on the Lakers roster, because Avery Bradley announced he will not be playing in Orlando. So fun stuff there. But, so I think that's a good point, Duncan. I didn't even think about that.
So what's the final vote? I said no. 2-2.
2-2. Should we do a tiebreaker or do a two polls this week?
Let's do 2 polls.
Yeah.
I think this is a good poll. I like this poll.
Will Travis Frederick be a Hall of Famer?
Or will his short career block him
SighSquadPod
getting in?
Oh, keep talking, Brendan. What were you saying, Brendan?
I was like, Will Travis Frederick be a Hall of Famer, or will his short career block him from getting in?
Oh.
All right, so make sure you go vote for both of the polls. Buda Baker, where does he land on our rankings, and if Travis Frederick will become a Hall of Famer. On our Twitter at SighSquadPod. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all those other places at SighSquadPod, and like and share the podcast.
Please do.
Why not?
Now. Do it now, right now.
Yeah, come on. It's not that hard. It takes 2 seconds.
Literally 2 seconds.
Oh, baby, just do it.
Yeah, even Brendan, who is bare minimum Brendan, can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. But that's it for this podcast.
Dang.
I'm Duncan.
I'm Ben.
Oh, I'm Noah.
Skitty Marinky Doodle.
This has been the SighSquad podcast.